Welcome back to Ivy Unleashed. Today is a solo episode, just me, because Brooke is living her best life and she's in Italy right now, or maybe Germany by the time this airs, who knows. But I am so happy she's exploring the world and she's with her fiance and some friends. So Brooke, I hope you're having the time of your life. I cannot wait to hear about your trip. But what I want to talk about today, I've really had a lot of time to reflect in the past couple weeks because I turned 40 on September 4th. And I decided to compile my 4 greatest lessons in my 40 years. And I hope it's a fun episode. I hope that I can really put into words what I've learned in my 40 years. It makes me kind of emotional even to think about it because I feel so blessed in so many ways, but just literally to have had 40 years. I know a lot of people that didn't get 40 years. So that alone causes me to pause and just be so grateful for my life. I have so many gifts and I want to encourage you to think about yours because we don't have to wait till it's our 40th birthday to really step into gratitude, to notice the gifts around us, to think of the people we love, to reach out to the people that we love and share with them what they mean to us, because it's no secret that my love language is words of affirmation. I like to tell people how I feel about them. I love to hear what people think about me. Like, I love when people write me a good card. And I feel like for my 40th, people really stepped into that. Brooke wrote the most beautiful caption on a reel for my birthday on our Instagram and TikTok. And it just meant the world to me to actually hear what she sees in me. And I hope to do the same for her and for all the people in my life. And I'm encouraging you to do the same. You know, sometimes people just don't know how you feel about them. They don't see the gifts in themselves. They don't realize the little things they do that really are a game changer. And it just means so much to me that people took time to do that. And I think we underestimate that. We really do. And so my first greatest lesson that I've learned is really just relationships are everything. They really are. I mean, anytime you think about being alone, you think about not feeling connected to someone, or you're struggling in a relationship, whether it's with your partner or someone in your household like a child or a relative or one of your friends or a coworker, for me, it consumes me. Like, I really, if there is any type of tension or unspoken issue, like, I cannot take it. And some might even say that's a fault of mine because I'm so direct that I want to hash it out. And it might be selfish because I know I'm going to sit in bed and think about this or need to come up with a text message to send or some way to ease that tension. I cannot stand it. And so with relationships, I think about what they've meant in my life and, whether it's a mentor that's helping you professionally, they're so important, professionally, to have healthy relationships, to help push you, to help grow you. Your partner that you're married to or you're dating or you're pursuing, like all these relationships, they carry you through the day, right? You're down, you need to talk to someone. We just cannot do life alone. And that is so much of what I've noticed in my life is that I have had such deep, rich relationships. And I think the reason why I pour so much into them is because I know that my mental health, my ability to be okay has to do with the type of people that are around me. And when I think about that too, I think so much about energy. I think about, what does that person bring to my life? And I have this deep awareness around that. And I think it has to do with, as a kid, you're kind of reading the room when your parents are divorced a little bit more. You've got people coming in and out of your life a little bit more than maybe the nuclear family that sticks together. And I feel like in my life, I've really wanted to be careful about who I choose. Like, if I'm going to let someone in, they're going to have some good energy. I need to be able to trust them. They need to help me grow as a person, not bring me down. And then I want to reflect that right back to them, right? I never want to be like, it's almost like everything with me is a competition, right? I know that's another fault of mine. But for me, I always want to be like the best friend. Like if someone, like my friend Britt, we've been best friends since high school. And, you know, if she's going over and above for me, the first thing I think is like, oh my gosh, how can I do this back for her? Like, how can I make her feel the way she's making me feel? And then I think we just keep elevating each other so that this friendship is just at this beautiful level of how can we outdo each other? How can we outlove each other? Instead of it being the opposite, where it's like, well, they brought me down. Well, they said this thing. So next time I see them, I'm going to say this thing. You know, it's this cycle, and it's these patterns that if you recognize them in your relationships, what helps this relationship, you can bring it to another one. And when Timmy the Dreamer was on the podcast, he said something about, or maybe it was his content, I don't know, but he said something about, you know, really focusing on 3 to 5 relationships in your life and really pouring into those and not letting the relationships that aren't as close take up so much brain space, basically, is kind of what he was saying. And it made me think, because I've always had a lot of friends, and then I beat myself up about the friendships that, like, it's hard for me to get back to them, or like make time for a conversation, or like get to their house because we all have kids and, you know, all of these things. And I think we can do that in relationships too. We can think we have to be everything to everyone. And I definitely know I struggle with this, where I don't want someone to feel like I don't care about them, but you also only have so much capacity and time, you know, and the most important relationships for me have to be my spouse and my kids and my, you know, my sibling, you know, my closest friends and family. And so that's a tricky thing to navigate. And it's, you know, as much as relationships are everything, I also struggle in a lot of ways too. And I know we all do. We have to work on setting boundaries. And as we evolve, maybe dropping some friendships, or we have to work on communication because we suck at saying how we feel, or we're not sure how to put into words that something's off or you need space from someone. Like, that's hard, because if you're going to have rich relationships, like, you're going to hurt feelings, and that's hard. And, you know, Brooke and I, we're business partners, but we're also friends and we're also family. And sometimes we have to say things that we know might hurt each other's feelings. But, you know, I don't know if I could speak for Brooke, but I think the more honest we've been and open we've been, even if it is hard to hear sometimes, like, transparency and honesty in a relationship grows it. And I think sometimes we're afraid to let people down. And so relationships are so tricky. But I know if I'm in a good spot with, you know, my handful of people, that I'm okay. I'm able to do everything else in my life. I feel supported. I feel encouraged. I feel like I'm giving to those that I love and making them feel good. And it's just like this cycle that's so beautiful and has brought so much to my life. And this is what makes me so emotional, is my 40th birthday party. First of all, I woke up to my husband and my kids walking in the room, giving me breakfast and coffee in bed, which is so sweet. And my living room decorated and gifts. And my husband just went overboard with gifts. And I'm not a huge gift person, but just like the fact, like the thought he put into my gifts and the cards that my kids wrote. My son wrote me this poem, and it was the sweetest thing. And then there was a surprise lunch. And then ultimately, I mean, there was a lot of wonderful things all day. Like, my mom surprised me. And all these people came to my house, but I don't like to know what the plan is. And I had a feeling it was either like a really nice dinner or something. My birthday was on a Thursday with my friend Abby. And we typically hang out throughout the day. But, and we did, and it was awesome. And then right before we were going to go to dinner, she tricked me and she said, I'm feeling kind of lucky. Let's stop at Sundance, which is this amazing bar, restaurant, bowling alley, golf course by where we live. And she wanted to do some pull tabs. And we walked into this room, and there were all of these people in there that drove hours to be there and got childcare to be there and brought gifts, and it just showed me, like, relationships are everything. That meant the world to me. I literally was thinking, like, when I die, this is what I'm going to think about. Like these people coming together to make Abby and I feel loved and celebrated, and we danced the night away. And truly my favorite thing in the world is dancing and loud music with my friends and just letting loose and having fun together. And it was unreal. And it just shows me like, that's what it's about. Like life is about having rich relationships where you tell each other what you mean to each other. Ooh. Oh, that got me emotional. Okay. Let's talk about something a little less emotional. All right. The second greatest lesson for me is that the biggest rewards in life are the things that take a lot of time and effort. And hear me out, because I know everybody's trying to make life easier on yourself and you don't want to like have to work extra hard if you don't have to. I get it. We need some convenience sometimes. But this is, I will like die on this hill. This is a hill I will die on, because in life, when you're thinking about feeling good about yourself, feeling confident, walking into a room, having things to say, having things to share, having stories to tell your grandchildren, you're not going to tell them how you took a shortcut. That is not what you're going to tell them about. You're going to tell your kids, your grandkids, the random stranger you meet at this professional event, something you did that you worked hard on, that you went above and beyond, that you created this skill, this ability that other people couldn't because they quit, because they did not push themselves, because they didn't trust in themselves or build the capacity to go beyond what the norm does. And this is so important, because I feel like I worry about this with my kids, because life is getting easier and easier, and they have an easier childhood than I had. And, you know, we're all doing therapy and we're like getting to be this like humans that the resilience isn't built like it used to be built. I mean, that's how I feel in my personal experience. I feel like the only way I build resilience with my kids is to take them camping. So they just have to like do something hard and not have like the easiest opportunities for everything. And so I worry about that. But I see this, you know, in my own personal life, when you think about marriage, right? It's not easy. It's adapting and changing with someone when they're sick, when they've changed their mind, when they quit their job, or they have a new passion, or they, you know, you're on this ride with this person, and I'm changing in my situation, he's changing, and we're trying to match each other and support each other and encourage each other and be excited about each other when, you know, life gets lifey and you throw kids in the mix, and, you know, this journey has so many twists and turns. And I'm proud of our marriage, and it hasn't always been perfect. And we've had to do couples therapy, and we've had really rough years of just being so busy or having little kids and babies and, you know, life stressors. But I'm so proud of it, because we haven't quit. And I'm not saying people that are divorced, you quit. That is not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, you know, being intentional about something, being so intentional and pouring the effort when it's hard, when you don't want to. You know, another thing for me is marathoning, right? It's this goal of 50 marathons in 50 states. And when I talk about that with people, their first question, well, there's two questions. One is like, what states have you done already? Because they always have a suggestion for when I should do. And the other one is, well, when do you think it'll be done by? Like, when are you what are you aiming for this to be done? And I am so not focused on that. Like, I'm so focused on the next adventure. Usually I have one booked, so I'm like training for it, or I'm saving for it, or I'm planning for it, or whatever. But people want to know when it's going to be done. And I think that's not why I'm doing it. You know, I'm in the pursuit of this thing that's really hard. And in the midst of it, I feel so proud that I keep not giving up, that I keep training when it's hard, or, you know, having this adventure to look forward to. It really helps my mental health, thinking like, oh, I have all these states I'm going to see and memories I can make with my family, or, you know, this next one I'm going on, it's with friends, and it's going to be such a fun experience. But it's not easy. It's super hard. And I've had injuries, and I've had situations where I haven't felt the best, or, you know, you name it. With 26 marathons and 26 states so far, there's a lot of stories. And that's another reason why I love it. And, professionally too, like owning a business, it's again, something I'm so proud of because it's not easy. Like Brooke and I started this business not knowing what we were doing. I am the person that edits this podcast, and the amount of hours, let's say for each episode, it's probably 5 to 8 hours of editing. We have almost 300 episodes. Like the hours I've poured into this, but with the goal of helping people take care of themselves on a new level where you're aware of how you feel and you're chasing your dreams and you step into what you're worth pursuing. And that is so important to me. And the fact that even a handful of people in the first year kind of tuned in and said, you've made me, this has changed my life in this way, and now we get messages all the time about someone that quit drinking or someone that switched a career path or someone that reached out to get help from a certain doctor or literally just they started a morning routine. Whatever it is that helps you start to prioritize yourself by me pursuing something really hard, learning about business and the podcast. And Brooke and I both have so many roles within the company of, we were not trained in business. So to learn all that's required with social media and managing a wellness platform. And if Brooke was here, she would just talk about all the things she didn't want to learn behind the scenes with technology. And it stretches us. And then we can look back and be like, wow, I'm really proud of myself that I didn't give up, that I knew there was a deeper meaning behind this. And I think that's what you have to stay connected to with whatever's hard. When it's taking care of your mental health and sometimes you feel like you want to give up or throw in the towel, or you've been really trying to get a workout routine and you feel like you're constantly failing. Like you're not. There are so many seasons in life where you have ups and you have downs and things are slow or things are super fast. And I think ultimately it's not giving up on yourself because you have a mission behind it. You have a purpose behind the reason why you're pursuing that hard thing. So it could be personal, like a relationship. It could be professional. It could be a hobby, and I think of those three things, my marriage and Ivy Unleashed and marathons, those are three things I'm so proud of because they require me to find and dig into grit and build resilience. And that's where I have stories of failures, of fun, of unexpected things I learned. And I just truly think if you feel like you're not getting fulfillment, or you feel like you have low self-esteem, or you really know you need to build your confidence, try doing something hard. Pick something kind of hard and just don't give up on it. Like make a decision to go after that thing or learn that thing or work on that relationship and take it to a new level. Build some discipline in it where you keep showing up for it, even if it's small or, when you are feeling really passionate or energetic about it, like going hard at it. And if that means you have to take a break from something else or say no to something else, remember why. Remember why you're saying no to that activity you actually don't really want to be doing or social event you didn't really want to go to. Take a little break from those things for the thing that really is calling for your attention. And I promise you'll get the fulfillment that I'm getting from these things. And I wish that for you. I wish more people would understand they're capable of so much more than you give yourself credit for. It is beautiful to see. There's a lot of people that have tuned in and now are running halves, fulls, and it's not about running, but it's about, I never thought I would say yes to a marathon race, and I did it, and it is mind-blowing, and it inspires other people too, and so it's just a waterfall effect, and I just love when people decide to do something hard, and they don't give up. All right, lesson number 3 is that we are constantly evolving and changing, and that is okay. And this is something that I struggle with because, what I was just talking about is not giving up. sometimes we hold on to things a little too long, or we identify with something. And when we change from it or we evolve from it, sometimes we feel like, oh my gosh, I don't even know who I am. Am I a bad person? Who am I? And I think it stops us from evolving into a new level of peace or joy. And it feels scary sometimes. Like it's, I think about like starting a business. Like I never thought I would be a business owner, and stepping into that was super scary. Or even like telling people what we were going to name our podcast. Like I almost felt like embarrassed at first, which is, it's normal. It feels silly now that I was embarrassed, but I didn't have the confidence yet because I hadn't flexed that muscle and just showed up and just did it. And it could be with anything. I know I've talked to a lot of people about leaving the church they're a part of and recognizing toxic patterns in their family, or, leaving a relationship that they really didn't, initially think they would ever want to change or evolve out of. Or, I'd be a bad friend if I left that, or a bad wife, or a bad, whatever. And I think sometimes we evolve and we change with new standards for ourselves, a new level of integrity that we want to live out. It could be health related. When I have gone months without drinking, I notice who talks to me and who doesn't, who asks for time with me and who doesn't. And then you can see when, and maybe it's eating healthier or getting up earlier, so you're not staying up late, whatever the health habit is, that it can affect your relationships. And if it gets to a point where people don't want to be around you because you don't drink, it's a good indicator of the level of depth in your friendship. And that's just one example, but that's one thing too, where I have changed my mind. Like, oh, I don't know if I'll ever drink again. Or, okay, I went to Italy, I had some wine, I went to Ireland and I had some beer, and now I'm back here and I'm like trying to decide what to do. And so I just want to normalize kind of changing your mind and noticing how you feel about things. And then recognizing your identity doesn't have to be the same for your entire life of what you love, because you might grow out of it. I'm definitely drinking way less than I used to, and I notice how it makes me feel. I notice who wants to hang with me and who doesn't. And it's just one example of how when we change our mind or we shift our identity, who's there for us, and how do we feel about ourselves? How is our energy? How are we showing up for people? How does that change? If I'm more active or getting up earlier, I tend to have more energy for people. And I just think as we change and adapt and we evolve our habits and we up level what we want out of life or our expectations out of people, who's going to be in our circle, it's a tricky thing to navigate. And I just want to normalize that we're all going through this. And I think we're afraid to communicate when we've outgrown a relationship, or we're afraid to create a boundary, or we're afraid to not show up to the social event we usually come, or show up a different way, if it's with alcohol, without a drink, because there will be comments, because it is part of what you normally do. And so people are curious. And I think just kind of owning what we're trying and owning like life is legit an experiment. So let your people know, hey, I'm trying this. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I want to feel better. I want to go to bed earlier. So I'm going to leave by 9. And I know normally I stay till 11, but I always feel like crap after we hang out when I stay up that late. So I'm trying something different. Or I'm trying this new exercise routine. I signed up for a race, and turns out going to bed super late and being dehydrated from drinking too much wine is a bad idea if I'm signing up for a race. And just talk to people about what it is you're trying. And maybe it's even recognizing it's time for me to evolve. It's time for me to change my mind about this thing, because it's clearly not bringing anything to my life. It's not raising my vibe. It's not making me feel like a good person. It's not helping me show up for my family the way that I want to, whatever that might be. Everybody has their vices, right? And so letting it be okay to change your mind, to evolve, and just have some self-awareness about how it makes you feel and why you're hesitating, or who's in your circle and how they make you feel. Because if we're not evolving, if we're not growing, if we're not, changing in a way that's in alignment with who we are, there's going to be repercussions for that. Whether it's your health, It's your mental health. It's your physical health. And so I just want to normalize that and remind you that the most important thing you can have in the midst of evolving and changing is a great support system. And my last lesson of my 40 years of life here is, it sounds so cliche, so buckle up here. And it's what we hear all the time. But truly all we have is this moment that we're in, this present moment. And I just want to thank you for being here with me and listening to this, because I think one of the most important things we can do is take people's lessons in life and learn from them, or see how they apply to us and leave them if they don't. Like, I love learning from other people in life with different life experience. I think it's crucial, and applying it and really thinking about, okay, in this moment right now, I'm definitely overthinking about this thing that is way too far in the future. How do I get where my feet are and focus on where I am now to make this moment the best it can be? It might be when you're trying to fall asleep and you're overthinking and you're stressing about something that was in the past or in the future, and you're just taking away that precious time for you to sleep. A lot of people struggle with this. And the best thing we can do is really get into our bodies, getting to that breath work of slowing down your nervous system, deep breathing. If you need a meditation app to help you, I know my family uses Insight Timer in many different ways. And some people are like, how does this work? And just a quick little rant on this. My son loves one that's like a guided meditation where it talks to you the entire time about like how to body scan and breathe basically to each part of your body. One of my daughters loves just music, where it's just like spa music. And my other daughter loves a story that she has literally listened to the same story every single night since she was like 2 on Insight Timer. And I think it's just like that familiar story. And then it ends with music. She knows, like, it just gets her right to sleep. And so just something, because I know people struggle with sleep so much, that being able to be present, a big part of that is being rested, is getting enough sleep. And it has so much to do with your breath, and it has so much to do with awareness. And we can get away from that with all of the distractions, with social media, and I know you're listening to a podcast right now, and maybe you follow us on socials, but we always give you permission to turn it off. Allowing yourself to be where you are with who you are, looking them in their eyes and truly listening to them is like the biggest gift you can give them and yourselves. And I think life just, people like, oh, life is so short, it passes us by so fast. Well, it goes a lot faster if you're scrolling on social media for hours, staring at a TV for hours, instead of really focusing on your health and wellness, your mental health, your physical health, your relationships with people that are in front of you, that are with you. So much of that is putting the phone away, putting the noise away. And recently, with what's happened in our world with shootings and just this darkness, and it's scary, and part of you wants to know what's going on, so you're scrolling and you're taking in all of these stories and how people feel about it and their opinions, and it can be so much. But truly think about where you are in the world and taking a breath there, and stop consuming information, opinions, stories. I know, speaking for myself, I can be so easily influenced by someone's opinion about why this is okay or why this isn't okay, or how it should make you feel about it, or how you should speak up, or what you should say. And I know that it's a really tricky time to be alive right now with this darkness and what we should do about it. And my opinion is, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get in my body. I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to focus on where I am, who I'm with, and taking care of that. Number one. Because it can be so overwhelming to think of everything else and what's going to happen, or what the right move is, or who to contact, or how to protect our kids, or, all these things, which are very important. But if we are not taking care of our own nervous system, our own brain, our health, our body, our relationships, and what we have going on at home, there's literally no point. Because then we have more people that are not focused on their mental health in the world. They're not taking care of themselves. So there's going to be more hate. Everything's just going to be elevated. more darkness comes from it. And so what I'm going to do and what I would encourage you to do is get present with yourself and with whatever you believe in. Anchor into that. Anchor into your faith. Anchor into who you are. Anchor into prayer. Anchor into your breath. Whatever it is that brings you home and makes you feel like you're grounded. And part of that might be actually getting outside too. Put your feet on some grass and get in the moment. I think that is the number one step for anything. When we're feeling overwhelmed with life, with what's going on in the world, if you feel like your health is out of control, your mental health is out of control, that we have to anchor into the present moment. And there's so many tools to help you with that. And if you're just getting started, trust me, I'm a beginner too. I am not meditating every day, I promise you. But I am aiming to get outside and I am aiming to slow down a bit. And I think that that's something that we can all do. If we really start at the basics of what's going to make us all feel okay and be okay, it's getting present, it's coming back to breath, it's getting more rest. It's the simplest things. It's telling the people around you that you love them, listening to them, asking them how they're doing, asking yourself how you're doing. The most basic thing is just recognizing this moment that we are in is literally all we have. And so how do we make this the best moment we can, or take care of ourselves in this moment so that we can be okay and then we can make it the best moment? And as I wrap up this episode, I just want to thank you for being here. Ivy Unleashed is the passion project of my life. I have no plans on stopping recording episodes because I know the guests that we have on have stories. They have life lessons. They know something beyond what Brooke and I know that is going to better your life. And Brooke and I also, we share personally what's going on with us. And we always say and want you to know, take what works for you and leave the rest. Circle back another time when you want to hear it again or something might speak to you then. Sure. Go back to other episodes that, a topic speaks to you. But I'm just so grateful that you're spending your time, your precious time, trying to take better care of yourself and that you're using Ivy Unleashed to do that. It means so much that you're taking the time to do that. I'm so happy. This is what I always dreamed of, is that the lessons I'm learning or the people I'm connected to can be elevated to a higher platform so that more ears and eyes can hear and see it, so that more people are taking better care of themselves. So I'm so grateful to spend this time with you. It does feel very weird to sit here without Brooke, with this empty chair. So I can't wait till she's back. We're going to catch up about her trip and see what she thought of Italy and what she thought of Germany. And I'm sure she'll have some great stories. So as I wrap up, my 3 gold stars. Okay, I did not write these down. Let's see. Really, I have 4 gold stars. Okay, so the first one is relationships are everything, whether it's with yourself, with your faith, with your people. Pour into them. You need them and they need you. 2, the biggest rewards in life are things that take a lot of time and effort. So figure out what it is you really want to focus on that is not the easy route, but it's important to take care of. It'll bring fulfillment and love and peace into your life. Don't be afraid of going after the hard things. Number 3, evolve and change and don't feel bad about it. And 4 is all we have is now. Just sum it up. We have this present moment, yes, but getting yourself to be present, I think, is the trickiest part. So find some way that you can get present with yourself. The easiest might just be right when you wake up. If you have some silent time, that might be the only time you can actually be present. Or maybe it's right when you go to bed. Maybe it's midday. Whenever it is, finding a new way to ground yourself in the moment and connect to breath more often. And for your piece of gold today, it can be controversial to quote the Bible within a podcast that's not a faith-based focus, right? We're about health and wellness. We're about mental health, right? But piece of gold for each guest that we have is what speaks to you. It could be your quote, it could be a quote that inspires you. And for me, the Bible is a place that has always brought me back to truth, that's grounded me, that's given me hope when I have had none, that's inspired me, that gives me stories that really anchor me into the present moment, that makes me feel like I have gifts, that I'm special and unique, and that this world deserves to see them, that inspires me to be that light. I could go on and on and on. And so My piece of gold comes from the Bible. It comes from James 1, verses 2 through 4. And it says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." This is Gold Ivy signing off. Listen to your truth and go chase your gold.